before we begin. Can you see her little face there, hiding there behind me? She's a sweet, sweet patoot. If anybody's wondering what those giant tubes are, that's the exhaust vent for our portable air conditioner. You know, it just makes our house look like a warehouse. And then the baby cat is up on her tree in the background as well. But I'm not going to leave the camera up there, I don't think. Okay, we have multiple things to do today. One of them is to take off this freehand floral design that I've had on for a week. I painted these last week, pardon me for the camera being a dumb butt. Come on, camera, please. There we go. I painted these last week, but it was off stream because I was sick and wanted to save my voice. So you didn't get to watch me paint them. But they were a lot of fun to paint, and now they have a week's worth of growth. My nails grow pretty fast, so I actually put up a post on Instagram of what they looked like compared to today. I think it was last night, 6 days of growth. So before I take off the polish, though, I'm going to shorten the nails because they're getting to the longest length that I would like them to be. I don't know. I wish this is like the longest that I like them to be, and if I leave them, they're gonna live for a whole nother week before I can trim them again, because I don't want to trim them when the design is in process. Wow, white balance, please do something other than that. Good God. Give me a second. This light wants to be much, much brighter than it should be. There. Nope. See, now that looks really gray. If I move the light, it might change it. Or if I move this down more. Is that better? Yeah, that's a little better. We're going to be chopping them before I file them, mostly because I found my glass file broken today when I was getting ready for stream. It had fallen inside of my chair cushion, and I sat on it apparently, and it broke. So I can't use my glass file, which means I have to use my regular files, which is going to take longer, and I don't want it to take longer. So I'm going to cut the length first before I shape. Hi. So say goodbye to the floral nails. They are about to be chopped. Let's actually, do I have? Yeah, I do. Okay. So the shortest length that I like to trim everything down to just at fingertip length, and then I let it grow for a week or 2 weeks, and then I, you know, chop it down again. Yes, adios florals. Let's actually start with the thumb. I don't usually use clippers to trim length, but I don't know if you were here, Praise, yet when I said that I found my glass file broken in my chair this evening as I was preparing for stream because I apparently sat on it. I'm buffering? Oh, that's not good. So we're using the clippers to get rid of some length before I shape today, because I'm lazy and I don't want to do all of that with a file that will take longer to trim. How badly am I buffering? I also need to check on the patch on my ring finger on my left, pardon me, on my right hand. and that will possibly need to be repatched before we move on to painting. My preferred length might still need a patch. We'll see. I'll have to see how much it's grown out underneath, because I don't remember exactly where the break was. Or it wasn't really a break so much as the beginnings of a rip. And I'll have to check and see how far out it's grown, and if it needs to be repatched or reinforced or what. How's your patch doing, Praise, with your reinforcement? That's why we don't generally encourage clipping, by the way, because it could break at an angle that you're not expecting when it shoots off into the wild blue yonder. The big cat, she's pushing her butt on me. Can you see her butt? She says, pardon me, I'm gonna take a sip of my juice. Actually, I don't think I said to anybody on Discord that I'm streaming, so I'm gonna do that really quick. Tortoise shell nails is the idea today. I saw somebody on the Reddit Lacarista subreddit who posted a little tutorial thing, and I did a test last week while I was sick as well, of some tortoiseshell sort of ideas. So we'll see if that's what I actually end up with. It depends on how it looks on my nail. Okay, let's clip the other hand. I like to make sure my ring nail on this hand gets a little bit longer than it should in relationship to my other nails, because the nail bed on this nail is a little bit longer, so I like to line up the nail tips on this hand and see how the ratio of these two nails is, and then on this hand I'll line up the ratio so that the nails on this hand are the same. So this nail ends up being slightly less past the tip of my finger than the rest. But we'll see how it ends up. I want to make sure that's not going to catch on anything while I continue to cut the rest. I'm going right down. If I were to file these instead of trimming them first with my glass file, I'd be okay. I think I mentioned, but the glass file's broken, so I can't do that. I had a new student today who was a sweetie. Kayla's map, yes. I actually had a really good productive day today, because I had a couple of students who were not able to be there, but I was able to get a lot of reports done that needed to get done, so that felt nice. Hi, Bethler. How are you? We are travesty using nail clippers to remove some length before I reshape. I'm not reshaping. I'm just trimming my nails and putting them back into oval shape. But my glass file broke, and I don't want to file down that much length without my glass file because it will take forever and a day. So I'm clipping them first. Yeah. And then we're gonna reshape. Did you see the floral nails anywhere before I completely remove them? Okay, so this is where the patch was. I'm pretty sure we'll have to see if that has to be repatched or if it's grown out enough. Because I can give you kind of a close-up of what's surviving on my nail before I remove it completely. Did I ask you how your evening's going? I don't know what time zone you're in. I don't even know if it's evening for you. What time zone are you in? Is it evening for you? And then Le Pinky. All right, let's get rid of these clippings. Yes, you did see the design, or yes, it is evening for you, or yes, I asked you how you were doing. I'm sorry I asked you too many questions. I don't know what you're answering. Okay, so you're, what, 3 hours later than me? Okay, so here's the floral nails, what's left of them anyway, after I have chopped the tips off. They are one of my favorite things I think I've ever painted on my nails. I really liked those. Yeah. Okay. The polish I'm going to leave on while I shape because it helps me see the shape of my nail without worrying about my smile line messing me up. Praise, I was explaining that to you the other day. You didn't say how your patch was holding up, by the way, Praise. I asked you, but I think you might have been buffering or doing something slightly lurky at that moment. Okay, cool. I think today, after we finish filing and getting everything back ship shape, we're going to be working on tortoise shell nails. That's the idea anyway. We'll see if that's what I end up going with, but that's the idea. I'm so sorry, Praise. Was it at least not painful? Were you able to save it for enough days for the under area to kind of start to have skin? Good. I should look up who the person was on the Reddit, on the subreddit, that had the tutorial for the tortoiseshell nails, because that's the basic tutorial that I'm going to be following. Her idea of using a jelly-ish, sort of a brownish orange color, in layers with the sort of black and brown spottinesses. Let's see if I can find it really quick, so I can give credit where credit is due. Tortoise. Here we go. It was ForeverEndeavors on Reddit. And her design looked like that. Which looks pretty cool. Focus, please, camera. Come on, camera. Focus, please. Goodness gracious. It just doesn't wanna. There we go. She has a little bit more of a red tone to it. Sorry, that's my phone turning off and showing all the cat hair that's stuck on it. Hers has a little bit more of a reddish tone, like a lot of tortoiseshell patterns and things do. But I kind of like a slightly more neutral brown tone to mine. My preferred tortoise shells are that way. So I did some testing and have this sort of basic plan for tortoise shell that we're going to be kind of working off of. If I can get that also in focus again better. There we go. I'm not sure if we're going to make it matte or if we're going to leave it glossy, because glossy does feel a little bit more tortoise shell-ish to me. I don't know. We'll have to see how I feel. Gosh, I'm glad I clipped, because this is taking much, much longer than it would have with my glass file. I'm still on the first nail. I had, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty good, I don't know. I had really good wear on these. I ended up having multiple layers of top coat because I wore the base color for a day before I put the flowers on. So I had my regular top coat and my matte top coat on the base color, and then I did the flowers, and then I did my top coat and my matte top coat again because I wanted them to be matte. They're not super matte right now because I put on lotion and stuff and didn't wash my hands to remove the lotion, really, because I'm going to be cleansing my nail plate with acetone before I apply my polish, so it felt unnecessary. That's okay for that nail for now. Anyway, so because of that, I don't know. Every time I have more layers of top coat, I feel like my wear, is exceptionally good. But I was testing out the Moonshine Mani base coat, and I did not have any lifting or chipping or anything until today on day 7. I had some beginnings of liftings on this middle nail here on the side, right there. I started to get some lifting. Can you see that? If I was wearing a peel-off base coat, I would peel that off. I don't want to peel that off because I don't want it to take layers of my nail with it. Because the polish, because of the multiple layers of top coat, can you see that gap right there? Because of the multiple layers of top coat, it's all staying together as one sheet of polish, even after it's lifting. So it could be that the top coat helped the base coat last longer too. I don't know. But the base coat gave me good performance as far as I could tell. I'm considering doing a battle of the base coats for this next design, doing my regular Glisten and Glow on one hand and the Moonshine Mani one on the other hand, and comparing their wear. We shall see. Of course, I'm going to refine the shape, my nail shape again after the top coat's gone. But doing it with the polish on to start with really does help with keeping the shape even without the smile line interfering. Because my smile lines aren't even. I don't think anyone's are. If I weren't going back and forth between here and here, I would just put on autofocus. I mean, not autofocus. I would pick a focus location. Holy cat, she's pushing on me. Stop pushing on me. You're heavy. 12-pound cat. Stop pushing on me. She's trying to get all in my space. I already fed her dinner. Don't. She's just being cuddly. Being cuddly because she can be. The 52-week challenge starts again this week. And they're starting with fancy / girly girl again. Some of the stuff got shuffled around and moved, and some stuff got taken out and some other stuff got added, but a lot of the weeks are same, you know. And I'm not doing the whole 52-week challenge again this year. I'm just gonna let myself be inspired by certain weeks that inspire me. But tortoise shell nails do feel kind of girly girl to me compared, like, I guess not super girly girl, but they're in the same kind of animal print kind of a family as a lot of like zebra print and stuff like that, but slightly more mellow because they're, I don't know, less attention calling because they're a little bit more neutral. Okay. I started to get a hangnail on this finger earlier at work, and it really got red just now when my file ran across it. It's got new tender baby skin peeking up out of the layers of crevicey old skin, I guess. Oh boy. That's so funny. I got a lot of inspirations that I had all organized on my phone, and when I had to reset my phone I guess it was a couple of months ago now, maybe a month and a half ago, it saved all my photos on my Google photo account, I guess, but it didn't save any of my folders. Like, I had them like in an inspiration folder, and so I have to go through my giant long scroll of pictures that are chronologically ordered now and separate and find all of my inspiration pictures again. Because there were a lot of things where I was like, I really want to try that, but it doesn't really fit into the theme of the 52-week challenge anytime soon, you know. So I saved it to try later. Like, there's several things that are plants that are, I guess, in the fall. Some of them are plants that are in the fall, and some of them are plants that are in the spring, but one of them was like a vine leaf thing, and the leaves at the end were turning red already, and then as it went up the plant to the bigger leaves, a lot of those leaves were still green. It was like the beginning of fall, and the leaves were just starting to change color. And then there was another one that was like kind of like a hanging flower stem, where it's got the stem and then it has flowers hanging down off of the stem. I don't know what variety of flower it was, but the ones that were biggest and closest to the stem of the plant were already, you know, starting to bloom and were kind of a red color, and the ones that were at the tip were still green, you know, but it still had that same green to red sort of gradient. That edge on that nail was lifting the polish, so I just broke off the part that was lifting so it wouldn't rip and pull nail plate with it for the rest of the nail. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. That's one of the places that I get lifting first, is on this side of my middle nail. I'm not sure why, but it just is. Oh, there's a big cat. Are you gonna sit there, Baggy Pretty? Oh, she's gonna sit on the ottoman. I'm gonna give you guys cat cam. Hanging out back there. Ooh, I found some of the Whispers sponges. The ones that are more airy. I want to try them, but I have not tried them yet. I just got them yesterday at Walmart, and I spent 20 minutes in line in the cosmetics area because they were making everybody, you know, they have a little cosmetics counter where they make you pay for the cosmetics that you're getting before you leave the cosmetics area as like a loss prevention thing. And anyway, the person who was at the counter there was just so slow. And so I was sitting there with my Whispers sponges and my $1.99 Sally Hansen something polish. Where did I put it? Here it is. This one. I got made in jade because it was $1, whatever. And the color was pretty. And the person at the checkout thing just took forever. There were like 15 of us in line. I mean, each individual transaction didn't take that long. It's just that there was only one person. You know, they only have one register there, and there were 15 of us in line, so it just took a while. It's so silly to me that they have some of the beauty products in that area and some aren't. Like, hair care stuff isn't in that aisle, but they have like tweezers in that aisle. Like, okay, I don't know, how are tweezers greater loss risk than hair care products? I would imagine it would be vice versa. Gosh, do I have a newer one of these? I thought I had a new one. Oh, I do. This is the old one. No wonder it's taking forever. Ah, yes. Much, much, much toothier. Oh, that's much, much faster. Still not as fast as my glass file, but pretty fast. I've got two glass files, but the other one is at work in the drawer in my desk. And I didn't know I needed it because I didn't know the other one was broken until I was already at home. And I'm not going to go back half an hour to work to go get my other glass file when I can just ghetto it with whatever I'm doing with the clippers and the other file. You have a leak, Praise, Mom said. How is that situation? I've got this part of the nail is my least favorite to file. This side part here, because you want it to be a smooth transition from the side wall of the nail into the curve of what you're filing, but you also want to get it, you want the curve to look nice, but you also want it to transition into a straight edge really smoothly. Yeah, Dad said that he was going to probably have to do that. He said that the panel there seemed like it had taken and like it was damaged and would need to be removed. Oh yeah, yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay, see what I mean about comparing lengths for these nails? This one I actually did slightly shorter when I clipped it. I'll have to see how it looks with the polish off to really get a good idea. I might have to shorten the middle nail slightly. If I have my nails long enough, you can't see the scar here from when I chopped my finger when I was making tomato soup. But when my nails are short enough, it kind of peeks up over the top, the scar does. And sometimes I exfoliate it with my file on accident, which is what's happening right now. That's funny. I'm not filing gently today. I'm filing to get it done because I want to get to the painting part because that's fun. And I'm doing my nails on a Monday night instead of a Sunday night, which means I have less time because I have work tomorrow. I really want to get back into doing my nails on Saturday or Sunday. That was the original. I mean, that's normally what I do. Sometimes I do them on Friday night. Sometimes I do them on Saturday. Sometimes I do them on Sunday. Only very occasionally do I do it on Monday. But I've been having to do them on Mondays for the past couple of times. Due to other life things. Run to Vaughn's real quick. What are you getting at Vaughn's? Just regular groceries, or do you have anything in particular that you need? Look at my big cat cleaning like a sweet potato. She's being a sweet, sweet girl. This nail file actually does very occasionally get used as a nail file, just because it's so thin and it can get down into the side area really well. Okay. We'll have to see how that looks without polish as well. Pinky. Pardon me, I just banged into the camera, guys. I'm sorry. I got to try some Lay's flavors. My in-laws, James's parents, took us out for dinner yesterday, so I was not low carb today. And they had chili something pickle Lay's potato chips that I saw. And so I was like, I am curious about these. And so I tried them. And they are very pickly. And they're pretty hot. They're not like intolerably hot, but they're pretty hot. And they have a lot of pickly punch to them too. It's kind of like a Bahama Mama sausage almost. That kind of vinegary, spicy. It doesn't have a meat flavor to it, so it's not exactly the same, obviously. But it's got that same tone of flavor. Vinegary and hot. James's sister had posted something about them on her Instagram stories a couple of days ago. And I had been curious, and so then I was like, ooh, perfect opportunity to try them. Okay. We are looking pretty okay. Obviously, we're going to have to do a little bit more shaping once the polish is off. I've already established that fact. But it's a good place to start. I have the Journey song Faithfully stuck in my head. I don't know why I have the Journey song Faithfully stuck in my head. When we were on the way down to San Diego, well, not San Diego, we went down to Del Mar. But on the way down to Del Mar yesterday when we were going out to lunch, we were in the car listening to the radio, and there was a pretty slow traffic situation, and so we were kind of in the car for longer than you'd expect. Normally it takes half an hour to get to Del Mar. It took us almost an hour. And they were playing, James was flipping between different radio stations, and several different ones were playing Don't Stop Believin'. We heard it on one station, and then later we heard it on another station, and then we started to hear it on a third station, and James was like, enough. He switched it, and we didn't listen to it a third time. And you're just sweetie big cat kissing her feet, cleaning her toes. Yeah, I made that nail slightly shorter than I meant to when I clipped it. Well, that's what I get for using clippers. Self-imposed regrets. And by 2 weeks from now, they'll be too long again anyway, so it's not like I can mourn it too badly. It'll be back before you know it. She's so cute. Giving herself a bath. I'm out of frame. I apologize. there's a lot of dust. A lot of dust. My nails also, they grow quickly, yes, we've established this, but they also are pretty thick. And so when I file, there's quite a bit of dust because I'm working through a lot of nail. My screen keeps thinking I'm clicking over here on the left. And if that's doing anything to the stream, I really apologize because I don't know why it's doing that. I don't think it's doing anything to the stream, but please let me know if it is. It keeps right-clicking over on this side of my screen. That's going to try to want to be a hangnail. So let's let that not happen. Or not let that happen. You know what I mean? There it goes again in my head. And I'm forever yours. Faithfully. Pwam, 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 banana, pwam, 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 pwam. I don't know. I don't know. There was an 80s song that I had never heard before playing on one of the stations, too, yesterday. And I don't know any of the lyrics, otherwise I'd sing that and see if any of you guys know it. Ooh, I hear the door. My whose band is home. Hi! Hey. I love you. You see the big cat? She's being a sweet lump. Do you see her? Yes, I'm talking to you. No. She's right here. Oh. Yes. We've got cat cam. Yeah. She's a sweetie. Did you eat? Yep. What do you have to do? Filing my nails before I start my design. Wow. Because they were too long, as I previously told you. Yep. And I'm bringing them pretty close, short down. And I broke my glass file. I was like, where did it go? And it was inside the chair, and I apparently had sat on it. And so I'm using not my glass file, so it's... Glass all over your chair? No, it's tempered glass. It broke cleanly in 2 pieces. Well, 2 pieces and a smaller piece. But I can't use it to file my nails. And my other glass files at work in my drawer. And so I'm using a not glass file, which takes longer. All of the polish came off of that nail when it was starting to lift on that edge. So I have to shape this one without polish, which is fine. I just gotta kind of squint at it and pretend I don't see the smile line. Or put, I have a polish actually that I use pretty regularly when I file my nails. I think I am going to do that. It is a Virago varnish polish called Disrobed, and it's like a dark purpley gray, and it's a beautiful one coat color, but I don't use dark purpley gray often enough to save it for painting my nails as a painted color. So I use it a lot of times when I'm filing my nails because it makes the shape super apparent. I'm going to let that dry and do another nail really quick. She's so cute. Gosh, I don't know why it's trying to be so bright today. It just needs to stop because it's not that bright. There, that's better. The camera's just like insisting that it be this super intensely bright white halo effect of whatever. And it needs to get over itself. Now this is the nail that has the patch on it, so I'm filing through nail glue in addition to my nail on this particular ring nail. So she's so cute. Let me see if I can zoom in on her on the cat cam. Give me a second, because I think that would be even cuter. Give me a moment. Do 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 do. We can move those out of the way. There she is, being cute and sweet. There. That's fine for now. She's a sweet little potato girl. And unfortunately, the cat cam does not have adjustable focus, so she's farther away than the focus is set to. So she's a little bit blurry, but she's still cute. Look at all this dust. You can't see the dust. If I go down like that, and then I file like that. Dust. Lots and lots of dust. That angle apparently is partly what's making it so bright, though. I'm not sure why. And this polish, the background color that I did for these, is very subtle thermal, according to the person who made it. But I did not notice any transition. All of the photos before I bought it, it was like very clear that the two colors were very close to each other, and you would only notice if you like dipped one in ice water immediately next to one that had been dipped in hot water, and then like held them up like this and was like, see, look, compare, they're different. But it was a really pretty color as just a color overall, you know, even though the thermal bit of it wasn't the most apparent. I didn't buy it because of its thermal properties. I bought it because it was a pretty green with flakies in it, because that's what I'm a sucker for. Okay, making sure, like I said, this edge bit where it transitions into the edge of the nail, I want to make sure there's no lip there. I want to make sure that it's a smooth transition. And the thinness of this file does actually help me do that pretty well. Well, I watched the Winnie the Pooh Christopher Robin movie. That was only okay. Did any of you guys see it? It was the beginning part, like the first 10 minutes or so, was the best part of the movie, and the rest of the movie was only okay. I wish the whole movie had been the kid who played Christopher Robin at the very beginning of the movie, playing Christopher Robin as a child, and that they had redesigned Pooh so that he actually has his jolly fat man cheeks instead of his weird tiny ventriloquist dummy mouth. Well, he wouldn't be the ventriloquist dummy. It looks like he's trying to do ventriloquism. And he's talking with as small of a mouth as he possibly can. Like Waltz Moth. If you've seen that meme. Okay. Is this dry enough to file? Yes, it is. That's another reason that I like this polish for filing purposes, because it also dries relatively quickly, and since it's only one coat to get it opaque, it really helps me see. I'm bummed that Virago Varnish went out of business, because they made good polish, although not being mean here, but Adrienne, I think is how you say her name, or Adrienne, I don't know, the gal who made Virago Varnish, when she was not doing Virago Varnish as her full-time gig anymore, and she had a different job, she didn't really make collections that she was selling to the mass public, but she did do a couple of collections in her Facebook fan group that she just made smaller batches and sold them to people who were interested on the Facebook fan group. And then she had one last collection. See, it wasn't completely dry. I rushed it and I smudged it, but it doesn't matter because I don't want it to not be smudged. I just want it to show me where the shape of the nail is, and that's fine. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. She for the last collection that she did release to the general public, before the release of it, she had a pre-sale for the people who were in the Facebook fan group. So you could pre-order, I guess, the polishes that were going to be in the collection that everyone would have available at a later date. And you would get your polish in the mail by the launch date that everyone else would be able to order the polish. And the colors, I ordered from the pre-order, and I liked the green color really well. And so then when it launched in the regular launch, I wanted a backup of it, and so I ordered a backup of it. And when the backup came, the color was pretty different. And it's not like batch variances and things like that with indie polish is always a disclaimer. But I was kind of a little bit bummed that the color that I got for my backup wasn't actually quite the same as the color that I had wanted to back up. It was these colors here. Oktoberfest, this is the pre-order color that I had. And then this is the color that came when the collection launched. And it's more saturated, and it's got a little bit more of a yellow tone to it and less of a gray tone to it. And the reason that I liked this color so much was because it reminded me of this other Virago varnish that was like an oops color that she mixed. It's called Camo Green Oops, and this is one of my favorite greens for doing leaves and things because it's super opaque in only one coat. And it's just, stop focusing on my cup. I don't want to focus on the cup. There we go. You can see that it's got more blue in it, but they're similar in dustiness. And then this one is just a little bit more saturated. I still like it too, but especially if, I mean, look at the top of the bottle here, where it's got more of the saturation. It just is a different color. And it's okay that it's a different color. I'm not mad about it. I just am a little bit maybe sad about it. And somebody else said at one point, we were talking about her green color combat boots and, not green, pardon me, her mustard yellow color combat boots and bodysuits. And I mentioned that mine is an almost slightly green leaning mustard, where it's got a little bit of a green tone to it. Not a huge amount of green, but it's not like an orange leaning mustard, you know, it's on the other end of things. And they said that theirs was almost an exact dupe for a different mustard that was more orange leaning, which was so not true for mine. So I don't know, batch variance is a thing. I mean, even with bigger brands, like Colette in one of her, when she had a whole big bunch of julep polishes that she was looking at, there were a couple of juleps that had the same label and the same name, and they were not the same color. You know, she held them up and they just obviously were different. And same thing with like OPI. Bubble Bath by OPI is a very infamously different polish. Different batches look different. Some are much more pink, some are much more beige. I mean, part of that depends on the skin tone of the person that's wearing them too, just for comparison between people. But then there's other things like Tickle My Francie, where the original polish was a completely different color than the color that they're producing now that supposedly is the same one. Yeah, I have to shorten this one. Like, it was originally much more of a brownish sort of a color with a very light pink tone, and now it's much more pink. And I feel like if they do that, if they, you know, it's been multiple years and, you know, the original pigments maybe aren't available anymore and things like that, that they should just release, they should discontinue the color and then just make this other color as a separate new other color and not try to pass it off as the same thing. Because the people who care enough to want the color to stay around are going to care enough to notice that it's a different color than the color that they fell in love with to begin with. Do you know what I mean? Dust. Everywhere the dust. I think I'm going to add some over this nail on this side also, just so I can see the shape better. It helps me judge length too. Everything is gonna have to be taken down a little bit, I think, just to make it even with this thumb. I'm kind of bummed about the fact that Disney is not really doing anything original lately. They've just been doing a bunch of remixed, rehashed stuff. Speaking of the Winnie the Pooh thing, the Christopher Robin movie. That wasn't really a reboot, but a lot of their stuff is. And, I don't know, like The Lion King If it's just going to be a shot-for-shot remake, then why are you remaking it? Just watch the original. And if it's not going to be a shot-for-shot remake, then what are you changing? And will I be mad about it? What did you get? Okay. Because I didn't know, because we didn't have anything in a can when I looked in the fridge right before I started the stream. So I was like, I hear a can. What is it? Speaking of drinks, sippy sippy. I'm drinking some of my juice. You reminded me to stay hydrated.
You can get a box for that.
Yes, Praise uses it.
Everyone uses it. It's very trendy.
I don't think I need to use it. I think I'm.
Need. It's just you could.
Yeah, but I don't really necessarily want to.
Want is different.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, let's shape up the pinky nail, and then we'll do more consistent overall shaping. This pinky nail wants to go wide. I have to keep this side straight. It wants to flare pretty significantly on that side. I'm not sure why. It only does it on this hand and not on the other hand. And then get the corner. Shaping, shaping. I could have done all this shaping not on stream, but I figured why not? Why not do it on stream so that I don't accidentally leave any part of it out. Or if anybody had any questions about nail shaping or whatever, I could answer them. There was actually someone in the Reddit Lagarista weekly help thread that was asking about nail shaping. And I didn't have time to answer them earlier today when I saw the comment. I'm probably going to go back and try to do that later. That big cat, she's a sweet, sweet princess. She's just sitting there being the queen of everything she surveys. This is the shortest that my nails have been in quite a while. Normally I just go straight to fingertip length rather than a little bit past, but as I said, I cut that thumbnail a little bit too short and I need to make everything match. I have to match. If I don't match, I feel uneven. If I feel uneven, I'm out of kilter. Sorry, I bumped into you guys again.
Yeah, a crazy thing happened. I clicked the button to load the game, and it just launched. you, right?
Okay.
Like
I don't know how much of that was on camera. I apologize if I was off. Ugh. I keep hitting this cord. If this cord here that's coming from the clip stand all the way up and around and to the camera, which is right here. And it is
the other guy in here.
directly in the way of this arm movement, which I'm trying to do when I'm filing.
Get him in there for some classic wingman legends. Everyone's favorite gun.
It's getting warmer and warmer. We're gonna have to really plug the air conditioner in relatively soon, I think.
Or not. Yep.
I've got 2 nails on. I still have that pinky to do, and then I have to even them up. Okay. That's looking okay. I was considering filing everything relatively short today anyway because of this nail with the patch. I was thinking I might have to just file everything slightly shorter to make sure that the patch was not having to be repatched and would just be filed off, because it would have gone long enough to just get rid of it if I chose to file slightly shorter than normal. So I'm not mad about it. I still have not seen any of those. What was who was I talking about that with the other day? I don't remember. I was talking on Discord with somebody about Halo Top and the fact that they have pops, like popsicles now, apparently. I still have not seen those, but I forgot to look. I knew that there was something I wanted to look at in the frozen food section last time I was at Walmart, and I forgot to check.
This guy needs XP.
Okay, we gotta get this side of this pinky. Okay. See, again, this motion, I'm about to run into the thing again, let alone having my hand come in front of where the camera is. A lot of this angle adjustment takes practice, because I have my little preferred movements that I've adjusted over the past couple of years of, I hold it in this particular angle so I can see it, or whatever. And I don't have to hold it in that particular angle. I could hold it in a very slightly different angle that makes it easier for the camera, but I don't do it automatically yet. Okay. This side needs to be a little bit shorter on the pinky. Oh, she moved. You guys are all just looking at an empty chair. Now you're looking at my face. But it's way too close. Let me readjust that. Zoom in. Zoom out. There we go. That's a little bit better. My big cat's sitting here with me again. There's her head. That's really bright right now. Okay. There. I'm back on track.
Oh, I'm still lagging. It's cool. Yeah. I can play though. It just means I have the advantage. But yeah, hits always register in this game no matter what. But my movement is like difficult to control.
Okay, I'm gonna have to, as I said already multiple times, take off polish, compare shapes, and then do a little bit of adjustment before I paint. I actually want to do a little bit of experimentation on my actual nail before I decide what layers I'm doing for the tortoiseshell. And so I obviously need to remove my polish for that too. Okay, we're looking pretty even here. Much shorter than we started with, but pretty even. This shape also looks pretty even. Alright, let's get our clips out.
There you go.
Now that the acetone's in play, I'm taking my ring off. I know it's a diamond. I know it's not actually going to get damaged by the acetone, but I just, better safe than sorry with the things that are precious to us. Goodbye. Disrobed. You were very helpful once again. Okay, so these nails, obviously, the ones that I just put the disrobed on, don't need that much. This isn't a glitter polish, so I don't know if I actually need my clips. We'll have to see how it all comes off. Yeah, that half nail with the flakies wants to stick, so I'm gonna do clips. Let me grab my big ol' acetone jug down here to wet my cotton.
Looks like? Yeah, that's a lot.
I just clump all of the giant cotton wads together and hold them together at the top of the acetone jug and then shake the acetone jug so that it gets acetone on the cotton.
Maybe in the building or something?
That nail has already had the polish removed. It does not need a clip.
I don't see anyone.
One hand at a time.
Now I see him.
Let's see if I can get the brightness adjustment a little bit better again. There we go. Okay, so the colors that we have here, while I'm waiting for my polish to soften so I can remove it, this, which I need to shake, is a mix of Orly Blonder Rubberized Base Coat and Totally Toffee. Oh no, hang on. No, I do not want to remove that camera. Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?
Coming in, coming.
There. Okay. Sorry. I put, I think it was about a half of a container's worth of the Totally Toffee into about a half of a container's worth of Orly Bonder, shook it up. It was relatively opaque. That is what is in this container, is the about half and half mix. And then I had another container of Bonder that was about...
It's like not even terrible either, it's just like decent.
Also half full. So then I poured half of that one in here, and it's more sheer. And that is what I was using as the jelly polish. So if I can show you on my bare nail here, it is a brown...
I have too many heels. You need to get rid of this.
Ish orange kind of jelly polish. I don't think I shook it well enough because that's awfully sheer. Welcome back. So I'm going to be using this as the color that kind of softens the layers of the tortoiseshell. Do you see how it's kind of a brownish orangish jelly? So yeah, we're going to do layers of this with the splotches in between and under.
It's probably
what kind of soup did you get?
It's probably some kind of residual.
And then this one, which was the first mix, that has less of the Bonder in it and more of the Totally Toffee, is still pretty sheer, but is more opaque compared to the first one that we looked at. You'll see. Broccoli cheddar soup. Oh, yes, that does sound good. And I actually have little swatches here where you can see. Do I have them near the top? Give me a second.
I don't know. I like clearly every now and then.
This is the little swatch of the mix that has more of the Bonder in it, and this is the swatch of the mix that has less of the Bonder. And you can see that the one with more Bonder is slightly more orange. Because Bonder is very slightly orange, and the one that has more of the Totally Toffee is more brown. It's still a little more orange than just the Totally Toffee by itself, which is over here on my brown swatch stick wheel. Give me a second.
I have 5 left. This is going to be pretty nuts if we get in a fight.
I got clips on my fingers.
It'll basically like snowball into the
So I gotta shuffle for a second. Hang on. Okay, so here is
a lot. Zip lines. We have made an actual spider
the little progression.
And waited for the game to end there.
See, there's that
jump pads. I don't know.
Revlon colors leave this weird white residue on their swatch sticks. I don't know. So we've got the progression from the brown of the Totally Toffee on the left there,
no cap on zip lines,
and then partly half and half Bonder. It gets slightly more orange and more sheer, and then even more sheer and more orange on the right there. So we're going to be using, I don't need the swatch sticks out. We're going to be using those as part of our layers, and then we're also going to, instead of using black, I have black just in case I decide to use it, but this cinnamon color is a very dark brown that almost looks black if it's in a small area, and it's a little bit less harsh and it can blend better with the other brownish tones in the rest of the design.
Well, it's this way.
And then I've got Sally Hansen Clay, which is a relatively slightly jellyish orangish color, and Plain Koi, which is a rusty red orangish sort of color, and then I have just the regular Totally Toffee here as well. And those were the colors that I used in my little test deal. The brightest orangish color there is the Plain Koi. It might be too dark. I might use clay instead. I don't know. I haven't decided. We shall see. That's why I want to do some testing on my nail before I commit and do a full everything. I also need my little this for the edges of my nail.
I don't see anything. Not with my
Since I used a regular file and I didn't use my glass file, I really would like to soften the edge of my filing and make sure there aren't any little snaggly bits. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 9 o'clock. That took longer than I was expecting. Okay, see, here. Now that the polish is gone, you can see that this edge is a little bit more flat. No, you can't, because that is really, do you see how that's a little bit more flat there on the edge? So we are going to soften that and round that just a little bit more. But we're still maintaining the overall nail shape that we saw when the polish was on there. We're not having to construct a whole shape.
I thought it was one guy. I can res myself if I get out of vision. No idea. I'm resing myself.
Good for her. I hope she imaginary catches it since she can't get through the window. After I remove the polish off of this hand before I start on the next hand, I think I'm going to go get a cushion so I can sit up a little straighter because I'm slouching and I know if I have a pillow behind me, I will slouch less.
Yeah. Slag is driving me crazy. It's making me sick.
Okay, do you see here on the side? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about transition from the curve at the front of the nail to the curve at the side of the nail. That is not a smooth transition. There's a lump there. So I'm going to smooth that transition so that it's one smooth curve, because I know that in about 2 days when that grows out a little bit more, it's going to catch on my hair and drive me crazy.
Oh, then it's you then.
So we are going to make sure that it's smooth, and this little bit of dried skin needs to come off too because it's in the way. It's impeding my filing.
I don't see anything near you.
There we go.
Seems so.
Okay, and now you can see that it is a
yeah,
smooth curve. There's no weird edge there
what
now.
was your FOV in Destiny?
At least I hope you can see.
It's
there we go.
In this game for
all right.
Yeah. If you want to match it.
And then
yeah, I know.
We gotta get the little buffer block.
I've been thinking about it since you said your angle was off.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just took the whole thing off.
103 in this game is equivalent to 120 in Destiny, which is like pretty fisheye. Yeah.
I'm making sure everything's looking good.
Same. Same.
Okay, those are looking okay.
I actually really like being on top of her here.
And then
Yeah. Fox. The skeleton.
I was actually just talking about that song
you?
yesterday
Colors.
because I was telling James
you
that
did.
the Smooth
Yep,
Jazz
there's one right
Station
there.
was not the Smooth Jazz Station
coming,
anymore,
they're
and I was
coming,
telling him
they're
about the
coming.
time that I very first heard that song. Alright, I will be right back. I need to go get the cushion so that I don't continue to hunch. I will be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, but first, actually, I'm going to do this and then this. I'll be right back.
What? Okay, don't go up. I feel like insta-killed me. Okay, that sucks. Yeah.
I just don't want to make you guys all shaky while I readjust the chair and the cushion and etc. because that might make you feel sick. So that is why I covered the lens. Give me a second, I'm almost ready. Okay, I'm back. And that's back too.
Yep.
Okay. So now we need to take the polish off of this hand. My big cat's over there being a sweetie. She's sniffing everything. And my baby cat is with her and they're being little buddies.
Yeah,
okay.
0.9, 1.0 should feel correct.
So we're going to get our clips on this hand. I told you I got a little spot on this finger that was going to maybe be a hangnail, and I can feel it. There's acetone in it, and ow, that hurts a little bit.
Yep.
That's okay. I was also thoughtful today and gave myself a little trash bag down here so I don't have to like go over there to the big trash can. And I'm glad I did. You can see some of the flaking there where my where the polish lifted. But some of it is just the dry base coat that didn't get properly removed. Some of the base coat got left behind, and some of it is my nail that got messed up a little bit. Thank you, past Gloria. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's smooth this out a little bit. Buffing the top of your nail is generally not that good of an idea, but if you have lifting that's causing uneven edges, you can do a little bit, and it won't hurt you. I don't know. Here's another area on the edge of the nail where I want that transition to be very smooth.
It's like really exhausting to look at.
From the edge to the front, I want that to be a seamless curve. Have you ever watched, what's the Midsummer Murders, I think is what it's called, Praise, on Netflix? I think it's a British murder mystery show that's not new, it's relatively old. I saw it the other day and I was curious to start trying it, and I was going to watch it while I was eating, but then I saw that the first episode was an hour and 45 minutes long. So I don't know
Yeah, this is
if that's
really
normal or if it's just because it was the first one or if they're all that long because it's
It's
British
actually slow-mo right now.
or what. I don't know.
You can moon jump right now. Check it out. Whoa. I eluded the scope and it just like launched into the air, like the replacement scope, and it's just in the air. There it goes.
Oh, you weren't here when I was talking about the Winnie the Pooh / Christopher Robin movie praise. I don't think. I think you were at Vaughn's. Have you seen it?
Uh-huh.
I was underwhelmed.
Dibs, I guess.
Okay, so we gotta.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Alright.
The thing is here. The ship.
My nails are still stained green from that other design. I wear green a lot, so my nails tend to want to get stained a lot. Also, it could be from the green that I was wearing just now as the base color for this design, but I don't know. And that seems kind of unlikely based on the tone of green. Unless, I mean, it's not like it's like it's impossible. It could be. Okay, yeah. So I do need to do a little bit of rounding right at the tip here.
Cool. Such a hard time moving.
Sorry, I'm not in frame. I'm trying to get too close to my own face.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel like a slow-mo right now. It's just stuttery. It's scary.
I don't think you heard any of the things I asked you, Praise. Anybody else who's here who wants to chime in about Midsummer Murders or the Winnie the Pooh / Christopher Robin movie may also do so, of course. And if you just want to lurk and listen to me not really talk that much, that's fine too. Let's get these out of the way. We don't need those anymore.
It's not. It's the first one.
This is not in frame. I apologize.
Yeah.
That's a little bit too bright also.
Yeah, it's really fun when you're like new to the game and you're like, oh, that's so unique, and then after that, it's kind of like, eh. I want a game I can play out on purpose. Yeah,
you see how that smile line's a little bit wonky? I don't think you can because the light's being too bright. Right. No, I don't think you can, unless I change my angle. Oh, that sounds delightful.
What?
Oh, the Christopher Robin movie. Did you ever watch it? And what were your opinions on it, if you did? All right. I did get to file low enough down that I don't have to repatch. Yay. And then also I was asking about the Midsummer Murders which is a show on Netflix that seems like a relatively old school British crime drama thing. How did you feel about it?
Yep. Same. Yeah. It's a heavy gun.
Yes. Well, that is what canon is as well, because this is just a fan fiction movie. Also, I don't know. I didn't really like most of it. I liked the very beginning, about the first 10 minutes or so, when it was like kind of going through his life and like showing how he grew up and stuff. But there was a lot that could have been better without Pooh. If it was just the family and like the dad learning how to be a dad, and it wasn't about Winnie the Pooh, it would have been a better movie, in my opinion. Humble and blunt.
Oh, actually, I don't have room for that.
What was your opinion on? Yeah, that's why I thought you had watched it, because I seemed to remember that you had. And what was your opinion of it? Was it that I should watch it too? And are all of the episodes an hour and 45 minutes long?
Yep.
Also, I don't know, going back to the Winnie the Pooh thing, I don't know why in the world they gave Winnie the Pooh such a tiny mouth. Because he doesn't have a tiny mouth. He has fat person cheeks, as James so eloquently put it. He's got a big, wide, jolly smile, and they didn't let him have a big, wide, jolly smile. They kept him with this weird spruce sort of a mini mouth.
Yeah, that's a common guy. That one sucks.
Also, it bothered me that Rabbit and Owl were an actual rabbit and owl and not a stuffed animal. And a stuffed animal. And the textures on... Like, I didn't mind the texture that Pooh had. That was fine. But Piglet and... Yeah. Piglet and Tigger especially. And the color that Tigger was not the right color. He was like this weird, lightened, almost yellowish tan instead of orange. Like, I don't know why. Why? Why did you choose to do this? And the proposal at the end was a little bit simplistic too.
Yeah, hit the rock. Yeah.
Pay all your employees to go on holiday, and then they have to buy your luggage to go on holiday and make the luggage cheaper. Okay, except how can you make the luggage cheaper without lowering expenses, which you already needed to do? Yeah. If you make it cheaper, you're going to have to lower even more expenses, and even more people are going to lose their jobs. It's not like you can control every company giving their people paid vacation. Tigger was the worst, yes.
Right there.
Also, Piglet's voice was not Piglet's voice. They had Jim Cummings do Pooh Bear and Tigger, because he does Pooh Bear and Tigger. But didn't he also do Piglet originally, or am I wrong about that?
So 2, I'm healing. They're in the house. Yep, in the windows. Yep.
I don't know. I can look it up, I'm sure, in a minute. If I care enough. Look at that. Clean sweep. It left all the polish behind on the cotton in a little blob. Okay.
Yep. They're gonna get impatient. They're gonna come here.
The big cat sitting with me again.
Yep.
Except she's brother. Look at her pretty face. Okay,
Feeling?
what's the time setting of it? Is it set in like the 50s or the 80s or the 70s or the 30s or what? It looks like it was made in the 70s or 80s, but I might be wrong about that.
This is.
But that
yeah,
doesn't mean
those
that that's
two
when
squads.
it's set
Something
either, do you know?
about
Is it still continuing? Thanks. I appreciate you. Because I also can check in a minute, but if I don't have to, if you can just tell me, that's even better. Okay. Those are looking okay. How's that looking lengthwise? It's actually a little bit... Yeah, that's fine. Okie dokie. Let's do some experiments. So in my first... Let's get these out of the way too. Where did my other clip go? Didn't I have 5 clips out? Where did I put the 5th clip, Big Cat? Or did I just not ever grab it from over there? Okay. We have a couple of things doing. Like I said, we've got these sheer colors, but we also have this, and I wanted to test applying it with a brush as opposed to a cotton swab. And the clay versus the plain koi as overcolors. So let's get a little blob of this out. This is just experiment time. We're not being super careful and precise, so let's start with this and we'll just do some test blobs. I'm trying to clean it off like it's a brush. Wow, look at them go. Cool. Good for them. Is it the same actors the whole time too?
it's really close.
Okay, and then we need to try some where it's... And then somewhere it's both.
Am I building? Running away from me?
Let me bring my ass stone closer. I have to reach around the camera too much.
I don't know where they went. They're just running.
All right. So obviously applying it with the cotton swab
Okay.
makes it much more sheer. Sorry, I'm angled to the other hand still.
Need a gun.
And applying it with the brush makes it much more opaque. So let's try one that's just 1 daub with the cotton swab and one that's 2. So that we get the texture of it, but it's more opaque. And then we're gonna do some of the dots with this. Yeah, okay, I can envision that.
On the ship, yeah, on top.
We're just going to do all of them with Playing Coy first, and then we're going to do all of them again with the other clay color afterward. That's awfully orange to start with, I understand. But it's going to have the brown layered over the top, which will mute it and soften it. 2011, okay, so that was quite a while ago. Even now, I mean, 8 years is a pretty long run for a TV show, even without having had previous seasons, you know? Get out of there, Fuzzy. You are unwanted. I did not put a base layer of color down for this. When I did my swatch test, I did. But that could be something that I want to make sure to do on the other nails.
You can tell him in the doorway.
I think I need to set my focus so that it's a set focus here.
On the right side.
So that you guys have a better perspective and things. And I'm not just moving my hand in and out of focus. So give me a schmooze.
That's the last guy. Yes.
There. We'll leave my hand there while I'm finishing the color testing.
Outside.
So let's go back in with another layer of the darker brown. Now this nail is the one with just one layer of splooging. And this was the one with 2.
Yep. Yeah, you won't notice it after a while.
And this one was the one with splooging and then brush.
I don't even have a loop. Yep.
And then this one was the one with just brush. And of course the pattern is going to make a difference in the overall appearance as well. Pardon me, I got some brown on this hand. A book series, interesting. I have continued in my Agatha Christie readings / listenings. I just began, what's the title of it? Hang on, let me check. Gotta get my phone out over here. Look at her headbutt. Do you see this? Do you see this cat? Look at her face. Do you see her headbutting into the cosmetic wedges? She's face planting into the cosmetic wedges because she is a derp. Let's see, what is the book called? It is...
Nope.
Look at her, she's so stupid. Okay, it's called Appointment with Death. And it's set in Israel so far, but it's Poirot. So he is the... I don't know what the right term is. Oh, I should... Did I just swiped all of these? Okay, well, I'm just going to swipe all of them again then. He's an international detective, right? So he goes into other countries, even though he's Belgian to begin with, I think.
That's the same progression.
Most of the ones I've read with him so far have been set in England.
Yep.
So the idea of this is to overlap some of it, but not overlap other parts of it. But I'm trying to remember.
I like it.
And like I said, it's going to get softened. I think I might end up liking the clay color better because it's a little bit more sheer and a little bit slightly less orange. But this is to experiment with texture as well. I'm kind of thinking that I like the brushed texture, this one on the index nail for the brown, better than the splodgy one from the cotton swab.
Just a sec. Let's clean this up first. Sure.
You can't really see as much of a difference here, but it makes them too round to have the cotton swab.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it makes the shapes harder to keep irregular.
Nope, crab. Hard pass. No, thanks.
And I want to let that dry just a little bit longer so I can add another layer of this. I think
or the body.
that I might use some of this brown also to soften things. So let's do that before I add one more.
Get out of the house. Oh my god. Oh, wait, what?
One more layer of the super sheer.
Why didn't they make any noise?
Yeah, this is a little bit orange. A little bit too orange.
Not a single one of them made any sound.
Obviously, my little test is bigger than my nails. Can you see that? So the color intensity can vary and shift in a smaller space differently than you'd expect in a larger space. Okay, this. See, but then if you add a third coat to soften the orange, I don't know, that looks not super horrible, but is less variegated than I would personally prefer. But, like, you can't see the shift in the color. It just looks kind of splodgy. So that's probably not on the plain koi. Let's try it with the other clay color instead after we take off this. It's still wet, so it comes off really easily, of course. Let's actually do a couple of tests here. Let's try putting down a layer of the sheerer color first. Okay, so we're going to do plain sheerer first, and then we're going to do slightly more opaque sheer first, and then we're going to do actually thicken this coat slightly. There. You know, just to get a little more coverage. And then I'm going to do one that has the totally toffee color underneath, so that it's a more opaque kind of base. Well, a more brown, I guess, kind of base. I've got fuzzies in there, though. Hang on. Get out of there, fuzzies. You're not welcome in this house. I mean, this doesn't have to be super neat. We're just testing, right? I can hit my cuticle if I wanna. All right. And then this one we're not going to dry as much. We're not going to have to wait for it to dry as much because it's just the base, plain and simple.
Nope. Nope, someone's here. I hear him. Doesn't mean they're going to stay here, though. Yeah. It only sounds like one, and it's off.
Hey, there's brown.
No, it's on the ground. You guys are both not on the ground. This is here.
It's slightly more sheer. I don't know. I'm going to do another one. See, do you see that? How it's just slightly more opaque and slightly more intense than the clay color? I'll soften it down. I was second guessing myself if it actually was lighter, but it is.
No, it was in a box. It's outside in a little container thingy.
This one, you can see the difference between the base color and the orange the most. But that's just because it's more opaque to begin with. Okay. So then we're going to go in with one coat of the sheer. Of course, we're doing one more layer with the splotches, so this isn't the final deal. We're gonna get a little bit more of a brown tone as well.
Yeah. It's like some of the worst projectile blue movement you can. Past like the 2x range,
okay.
It just goes everywhere.
And then we need to add more dark. I'm feeling like maybe that bottom layer should be black, possibly. That's something else I'd like to test. Because it gets covered up, it would show through a little bit darker, possibly.
Not that far.
If it was black, oops, that's too much.
One's right here. One's here in my building.
She's a big stretch.
Got one. Okay. go. Another spot.
Okay.
Different spot. Common.
Orange is
Yeah.
coming through a
Oh,
little
there's
bit
another spot.
more intensely now.
Wow. Too many people.
Okay.
Can't heal fast enough. They're resin. They're done resin. It's another spot. So there's 2 spots here now.
Okay. So, evaluation for color. Let me out of focus and bring you guys a little bit closer. Please focus. Of these 4. Please focus. Come on.
Maybe they won't notice. Maybe they won't notice.
Gosh, why is
they're
it not focusing? I'm going to just have to manually focus it closer.
Yep. Yeah, just go as far as you can in a straight line.
There.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming.
Okay. Pardon the dry cuticles. I have not
really
moisturized yet.
like,
they all look relatively similar.
Use it now. They'll be fine.
With a different base color. In person, I like this one better. It has a slightly more translucent feel to it, which does feel more like tortoiseshell. This one's a little too translucent. You can see my nail line there on the edge still. So no base color is not a good option. I do like the way that clay layers over the brown better, where you can kind of see parts where it's through it and parts where it's not. I do want to try possibly with the black on the bottom layer. I'm probably not going to end up doing that in the final design though. I'm pretty pleased with that pinky.
Lower like eye level, and then you jump right when it connects, still slingshot, and you get way more distance.
Right.
Yeah, like that. There you go. Then slide.
Let's do one more round of test fingers.
We move north as we go.
I'm going to leave the pinky actually as a comparison, so I don't have to redo that whole concept. But the one next to it, I'm going to do as the same thing, except instead of the base of cinnamon, I'm going to use black for the very bottom dark.
What?
Okay.
They're fighting.
So we started with a base of our custom mix.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of birdies here. Dead people.
And then we gotta wait for a second for that.
Oh, there is.
It looks so horrible, just one coat of that weird brownish sheer. There's a reason people don't make that as a color, and you have to kind of cocktail your own. Okay, so let's get the black. This is Simple Colors, black on black, and it is almost empty. I might...
No one ever goes to the pit.
I might grab another black instead. If this doesn't... If I decide to actually use black, we'll see. Okay, you can see that's quite a bit darker
Purple.
than the brown.
Prince purple.
So we'll
I think
see
people
what
do this, actually, but
element it adds to the final design, if any.
find out. Yeah, we can do the waterfall.
You gotta keep the orange relatively sheer.
Oh, Tortoise came here. Why would you come here?
Doop, 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 doop. It's looking very Halloweeny there. Orange and black. And then a layer of the sheer.
R99.
Oh, I got goobers all over the side of that finger. Let's clean that off, shall we? I was wondering where that other index nail had banged into because I didn't have any on my other adjacent finger. Can you see the bruise on this hand? Yeah, you can. Do you see all this yellow? I scraped the whole side of my hand against my car mirror while I was scooching past it to get past another car. As me, a person walking, not me, a car.
Yeah, it is.
I had just parked and gotten out and walked too close to my own freaking mirror.
Better than having the loot and die. Oh, this looks like it's been looted, so might as well just go on.
I might like the black in the back. We will see. Back in black. Oops, the cushion, the wedges. Big cat, what are you doing? Okay, and then more clay.
I have a single med kit.
That's not sheer enough. We'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see. We gotta add one more layer of the sheer over the top of that. Good God, I wish it would focus more quickly and stop trying to focus on the labels in the background here. There we go.
Yep.
There it is. It's in focus. Yay. Okay.
That's your shot. You guys hear that? No, it's Faber again.
I don't know if it actually makes a big enough difference to bother going and getting the black.
Throw it away later.
I don't think that it does. We're not going to do that. We're just going to use the cinnamon. And that means that it is time to make sure that everything is clean and non
There's movement near you if they're fighting over there.
Oiled.
You sure?
So that I can get good adhesion. So we're not using this. This can get closed. And we're not using this. We're just using these three, which is good. And we're not using any Q-tips, which is nice.
Yep.
And we're not even using a palette. Wow, this is going to be faster than some things. All right, let's
I'm going to kill one in a second.
Get this cleared off. What a pretty cat. She's such a good girl. So pretty, so good. The regal queen lady. Look at the way she sits. She knows it, too.
Yeah,
she knows she's a princess queen. Sorry, I'm just getting all of this off camera. I don't think you need to see me removing the polish, do you?
Got him.
If you do, I'll move the camera, but I have a good white balance right now and I don't want to screw it up. Do you want me, praise? to do a wear test between the two base coats, one hand with my preferred base coat and the other hand with the
We have a
alternative
really good cross.
competitor base coat, because I am leaning towards that idea.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, we'll just give you a different angle or whatever. They're here.
Are you amenable? Okay.
This is it. Kill him. He has no help. Oh my god.
I shall do so.
Yeah, just right. Okay, never mind. Try to res me.
I mean, this whole design is relatively an experiment. I don't know how I'm going to like it until I see it in its totality with top coat.
Get ready to bail. Yeah.
So we shall see.
Ready to bail. There we go. Healing? I'm healing. Oh, I'm going to die in the circle.
Okay.
I'm dead.
So let's pick a hand. Let's do regular base coat on this hand and Moonshine Manny base coat on this hand. And by regular base coat, I mean the Glisten and Glow base coat, which is my favorite base coat.
There's no way out. Someone's behind me.
As we have discussed on many a previous occasion, I love the texture of this base coat as it applies. It just feels so nice and self-leveling, and it has a excellent spreadable consistency that makes it easy to get an even coat without running into your cuticles, and I just love it. However, that doesn't mean that its position as my favorite could not be challenged. I do really like the brush on the Moonshine Manny base coat. I used the Moonshine Manny base coat for my last design, and it did last the whole week, and therefore is a contender. So, we'll see. It has a nice, the Moonshine Manny one has a nice round brush that makes it easy to go around the cuticle area without as much manipulation and movement of the brush. Like with this one, to go around the cuticle, you know, I'm having to turn the brush and curve the brush to go around. The Moonshine Manny one, you can see the brush in there. It's a paddle brush with a round curved shape built into it, so it makes it easier to apply.
I did all that damage with just a craver. It's weird.
Alright, so there's that. And then
that rare moment where they're actually just fighting each other.
We're gonna get the Moonshine Manny one out for the other hand.
Shots. I didn't get any headshots though. Each person has 2 hits.
This base coat feels slightly thinner, and that could be because it is slightly thinner, and it could be because it's new and the other one has been refilled a couple of times. It's possible. Like, I don't know where these gals are getting their supplies. It could be that it's the same base coat, you know. It might have the same ingredients and I just don't know. But do they smell the same? I don't know. I'm not on camera. Let me tilt this. You see how the brush makes it easier to just get up into the cuticle area without having to turn the brush? It doesn't seem to be quite as self-leveling, though. It is a little thinner. It doesn't smooth out the ridges on my nails quite as well.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
Which is not,
Like down in the desert,
you know, not a huge problem. I don't have like super ridgy nails, but on the nails where I do have a little bit of flaking, if I were to do like a chrome polish or something, I would want 2 layers of base coat so that it smoothed it out a little better, I would think. I mean, obviously I haven't done it yet, but that's what I am feeling like I would want if that's what I was doing.
Oh. It's more complicated.
Okay. Now, this other sheer color is mostly a base coat also, which is kind of funny. The color that I mixed with Bonder and the Totally Toffee. So it might increase wear time, or it might react weirdly because it's mixed with regular polish. I don't know. We'll see.
Pretty full.
Sorry, nose itch. And I've got, I'm going to try to keep the layer density or thickness the same across my nails because this color is kind of buildable. It could have, you know, a different opacity for that base color depending on how thick of a layer I do, how thick of a coat. So I want to keep it consistent so that my nails look like they have the same overall color at the end when I do the same number of coats. So for some places that might involve thinning it slightly, like this nail needs to be thinned slightly. And for some it might have to be thickened slightly.
I get enough ammo, I'll do like that with a shotgun or something else. That
There's a fuzzy there on my edge that I ran into. Did she? No, okay. I thought she might have left because I felt her weight shift. I didn't cap these tips. It's easy to forget sometimes when your nails are shorter.
They don't even help, except the magazine.
When they're closer to the edge of your finger.
Like fire and you're like pretty solid.
But it's important to do to keep your polish from chipping. Okay, so there's the sheer wash of orangish brown on that hand, and okay, this one is dry enough to do pretty much right away, so that's good. I don't have to add longer dry time to its pros and cons list. They both seem like they dry at relatively equivalently fast speeds.
It's surprising.
Okay. Do you see how that coat is thicker at the tip?
Trending north. Is that what we're doing?
Because I capped the tip and I didn't thin it out.
North? Yeah.
It's a good thing we're adding splotches over it because that is not the most even coat. I wonder if that's a difference in the base coat reacting or if it's just that I applied it poorly. We shall see. Let's clear off some of this extra glue though. There. That one applied more smoothly. So that's good. I don't think it was the base coat. I think it was user error. Too much polish.
Someone's here. That drop isn't normal. There it is.
I've got some on my cuticle there. There. That's pretty good.
Coming down. They're coming down. You ready? One down. Two down. One more.
Okay.
He's coming toward you.
All right, all right, all right. That's looking okay. That's looking all right. Look at
Got
this cute big cat though. Look at her little face made of fuzz and sweetness.
Ah!
She's just
Oh my
the
God.
droopiest sad potato. She's fallen asleep and she can't even help herself. Okay. So then that is that.
Yep. I hope they die out there.
Okay.
They smoke me.
She's
They're trying to
sweet.
go down.
She's snoofing. Big sweet snoof. Okay, that looks good. Okay. All right. This thumb is the worst application on all of them, and that's just because I didn't do it evenly. Okay, so now we're going to go back through with cinnamon, and we need to be mindful of our placement of this. I'm actually going to get up a picture of some tortoiseshell. Now, the tortoiseshell here is not inspired by my tortoiseshell cat, of course. She is a sweet, sweet, pretty girl, but is not a clothing design. And I just smudged that pinky nail. So let's fix that before I do anything else. We'll just put a blob there, but I want it to be even in its surface height so that the blob can be not distorted. Okay, here we go. Tortoise shell.
Going around. Oh.
And
Got one.
Okay, I'm seeing some designs that are looking almost alright. Some of these are super dark, and some of them are super orange, and some of them are a little bit more moderate intermediary sort of pattern. I think I'll go with...
Okay, on the other.
I'm going to scroll back up to one of the ones I saw up here.
Where is he? I hear him.
Is that what I'm looking for? I think, maybe. None of these look like tortoiseshell to me. Like, I'm looking at actual tortoiseshell patterns, and I'm not seeing anything that looks tortoiseshell. Look at this sweet, sweet baby. Big cat. I'm going to move these whispers so that I can see your pretty, pretty nose. You're so sweet and pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have a good enough idea from looking at some of these. Like, some of them are too densely spotted, and some of them are not densely spotted enough. So, looking at all of these and being offended by them each in turn, I have come to my own conclusions about the density of tortoise-shelly pattern that I like. So, I'm going to just wing it from there. I know that some of this is going to be covered with orange color. And I also know that I don't want to make it too rectangular, because when I did it kind of quadrangly, that's not a word, is it, in that context? I don't think so. When I went too much across the nail in all of the corners, it didn't look organic enough. It looked too boxy.
Unless they just forget about you. Yeah, they just forget. Yep. Woo.
But as we said, some of this is going to be covered with the orange, so I'm going to darken some of this just a little bit. Some of the areas where it's got more together.
I think you should do water treatment, if possible. I think that's the least likely.
Okay, and then the thumb.
Spot. Yeah.
Is that...
Go piss them off.
Gotta keep the density even across the multiple nails. Okay. That's looking okay. That's looking pretty okay. So then let's go and do it on the other hand.
Wait,
now I know that I want more here.
Yeah, I got 8.
And I know that I want some on that side. I know that I want some there.
I killed them. Yep.
That's doing all right. And then some coming that way.
Yep. Yeah,
that's looking okay too. And then let's add a little bit of dark on this
so if one doesn't die, it's over.
Okay. And of course, we're going to go back over those with the orange color, so it's not like that's the final design. But it's good base. And then, oh no, there's a cat hair. There's a cat hair. Do you see it? There. She's purring in her sleep. Oh my god, can you hear her? She's going. Yeah, you big sweet giant monster. Okay. Okay, so then we gotta get the right kind of yeah, that's okay. get a little bit of a darker, yeah. Okay, okay, all right, okay. And then going kind of this way.
Yep. Dude, one of these guys gonna die. Yeah, I'm waiting.
That might be too, the angles of that are not good. So I gotta, it looks too much like the brush is facing the same way the whole time. There, that's a little better. It's more densely brown.